Chris Matthews was trending globally in the top 5 spots from his epic meltdown. Do we have that meltdown?
Yes.
He had a meltdown last night.
He was not happy.
Really?
Yeah.
I will tell you about...
He didn't have a thrill going up his leg.
About 5 minutes into this one, I had a thrill going up my leg.
Yeah, me too.
I did.
It was everything I hoped it would be, and maybe even more. Wasn't it for you?
No, it was more for me.
Yeah,
Well, no. What I hoped was that Barack Obama would say, okay, damn it, look, yes, I'm a Marxist. What's the problem?
Yeah, that was unlikely, but it could have happened.
It could have happened. Mm-hmm. I think last night, he was so on the ropes. He was so shocked. He was so angry. Look at him. He despises Mitt Romney. Despises him. And I don't know how Mitt Romney feels about the president. I have a feeling he likes him, more than I do, but I think the author of all hate likes him more than I do.
Is hate authored?
Oh, yes, hate has an author. But he despises Mitt Romney in the first place. And then to get such a pummeling, really, honestly, I feel bad for somebody at the White House because that the buck doesn't stop with him. Where did the buck stop last night?
On somebody's head.
Who got the reaming of their life last night for his performance?
Oh, please say it was John Kerry. Please say it was John Kerry. Please say it was John Kerry.
It was John Kerry.
Oh, thank you, Pat. Yeah, because John Kerry was the guy who was supposed to be.
Him.
Yeah, he was the guy who was Romney in the fake debates. Yeah. And wow, did that not work out well?
What kind of star does Rob Portman look like now? The guy who prepped Romney. I mean, he looks pretty good today because Romney was so well prepared. Better prepared than any other Republican we've seen debate in at least 50
wait a minute,
years.
That's
that
not
we can
Portman.
Think of.
Remember, Portman prepared John McCain.
Did he?
Yes.
So it wasn't Portman.
It wasn't Portman.
Wow.
It's Romney.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, Romney is just good. Romney. The secret to Romney is if you watch that special we did on Romney, where we talked about the goodness of the man. There was that story about the Veterans Hospital or Center up in Boston. Mm-hmm. And he said Romney came in and Ted Kennedy came in and did the photo op, and he was there for about 30 minutes. Romney came in and he asked, first thing out of his mouth was, "Can I see your books?" Romney went into the office and the guy was like, yeah, okay, sure. So walked into his office, sat down behind his desk. He said, he sat there in my office for 45 minutes just reading the books, just looking at everything, closed them, and then said, you have a good operation here. So Romney's a mechanic. He's a numbers guy. The key part of this story was he remembered 4 years later what the guy's needs were and books said, because when he got the budget submitted when he became governor, 4 years later, Romney had made the adjustments in the state budget to help him exactly where he needed help. This guy remembers these things. This is what he does. And that's what was so impressive. He wasn't talking down to anybody. He didn't have a hard time explaining. What he talked about last night was very complex. When he talked about, we've got to lower the rate but get rid of the deductions and why that makes a difference. When he got into the saying, look, here's why this makes a difference, because the people who have the small businesses, et cetera, I can't even explain it right now easily. He did. He made it make sense to the average person. It was a remarkable performance last night.
And speaking just politically, like what you bring up a mechanic, which is a really good analogy. When your job as a mechanic is you're selling your services, you're selling your ability to fix this car. And politics is similar in that way. A lot of times you're going over people's heads with concepts. I don't know anything about a carburetor, but they have to explain that to you when they come out and they say, all right, the bill is $1,600. Let me tell you why. The best mechanic can not only fix your car, but can explain it. Can still seem on top of all the issues, but can explain it to a person who doesn't fix cars for a living. And that was something that Romney, he hit that sweet spot last night.
And do you know who he is? You know who he was? Silent Cal. Calvin Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge was not warm and fuzzy. He wasn't hanging out with the celebrities. He didn't, nobody knew him. Nobody knew him. And he said very, very few words. However, in conversations and things like that. However, what did he do? Woodrow Wilson gets out of office, and Harding sends Coolidge on the road to explain how the engine of capitalism works, because too many people had forgotten. And so he had to reverse all the years of propaganda from Theodore Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson and reverse that propaganda and show how the engine worked. And that's what brought us the Roaring '20s. I mean, that's what I think this guy can do it. And when he said it yesterday about the banks and the Dodd-Frank bill, nobody was watching that. Nobody knows what the Dodd-Frank bill even is. But yet he explained it, and he said it was a giant kiss. Why are the 5 banks that are too big to fail? They're identified in there. And did you see Obama? Obama shook his head. No, not in there. But when he had the opportunity to respond, he responded to everything but that. And Romney came back and said, it's in there and it's wrong. Obama just did the facial expression like, you're making that up, but never said anything because it is in there.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I mean, if you were worried about Romney playing the game, he's not playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, a great point and a great illustration of overregulation he made on the Dodd-Frank bill as well, where he said, in the Dodd-Frank bill, it says you can't give mortgages to people who don't qualify for them, and if you do, we're going to give you big fines. But they have never defined what a bad mortgage is. So these companies are freaked out of their mind to give anybody a mortgage because they don't know that on the other side whether they're going to get sued or fined or what.
I know at some point I've known that fact, but I wouldn't have remembered that fact.
Yeah.
And if I would have had to explain Frank Dodd, I wouldn't have come up with that one.
You didn't even get the name right. It's Dodd-Frank.
Dodd-Frank, whatever. Loser. They're interchangeable. Like loser, and loser.
Who are both out of jobs.
Right.
Yeah, those two guys.
But I mean, I thought he did just a remarkable job. Here's Chris Matthews, by the way, the audio.
Well, this tonight wasn't an MSNBC debate, was it?
Nope.
It just wasn't. It had none of the things you mentioned. It didn't mention...
Stop for a second. Stop. Play it again. Does he have a cold or has he been crying?
No, he's been crying.
Is he? Okay.
And he's about to cry again. You can tell, right, like halfway through this, it sounds like he's just about to break down.
Did anybody else notice that Romney had kind of like a pink upper lip? It looks like he has been sick. I don't know if he was sick, but I'll bet you that guy was sick. I think this was a performance with him not feeling well.
His voice didn't sound full.
Yeah.
It sounded like he was a little raspy. That could be just from a lot of speeches.
But if you notice, did you guys see the upper lip being a little pink? I think that's from tissue. I think he's got a cold. I mean, if this is a guy on NyQuil, I'm in. You had me at hello.
Well, this tonight wasn't an MSNBC debate, was it? It just wasn't.
No.
It had none of the things you mentioned. It didn't mention all the key fighting points of this campaign. And certainly there was no Bobby Kennedy in the green room before Barack Obama came out tonight. Maybe should start. I don't know how he let Romney get away with the crap he threw out tonight about Social Security. Listen to the stuff he got away with. He said, emergency room. The latest thing we got from Romney, because he said so, is, you know what I want to do with people when they're poor? Shove them in the emergency room. Why did no...
What? When did he say he wants to shove poor people into the emergency room?
You know what this is? This was no MSNBC debate where the president was doing poorly, and so we would take our anchors and sick them on the other guy to let Obama up and give him some air and call in the support team.
I think that's what he's saying here.
It is what he's saying.
Yeah.
He said there was none of the Obama campaign points in it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're admitting
Not
you're
supposed
a
to be.
propaganda front for the and they don't mind.
No.
They don't mind.
Yeah, MSNBC wanted that debate to be about the 47% and birth control. And they got none of that. Because and give credit to Lair on that, I think, to some degree, and to both candidates, even Obama to some degree on this, in that neither one of them seemed to go to that. They actually tried to talk about issues. Obama just lost on the issues. And, man, that's refreshing. Not the fact that he's losing, because that was really refrafreshing. But the fact
that was like baptism.
That was like baptism.
It was like I felt new again. I'm like a resurrected being all of a sudden.
But the fact that they actually were talking about legitimate issues, it wasn't like, well, women are gonna be warred upon.
You know what? I have to tell you, I again can't remember a single question from Lair, which says to me it was good. he did it the right way. First of all, let them go.
Yeah, he's like an NFL referee.
Right.
You want them not to be noticed. You don't want them to be part of the game. It's the same thing with Lair.
I tell you, and Jim, I felt bad for you because you're going to lose your job when Romney is elected because he'll cut the funding for you. And hang on just a second. Let me cry. Okay, now I'm over it. But you're a good journalist. Maybe we do the Jim Lair News Hour on the Blaze. We're hiring. I know it's hard to take money from an individual as opposed to taking money from the collective, but we can make that dream come true for you. Just stay in touch with me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk in February, probably very early in February. Call me.
But here's more of his meltdown.
Obama say that. Why didn't he say that? You talk about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicare people. They're part of your 47%. You go after the people and the facts. What was he doing tonight? He went in there disarmed. He was like, oh, wait, an hour and a half, I think I can get through this thing. And I don't even look at this guy. Where's Romney? I love the split screen. Staring at Obama, addressing him like the prey. He did it just right. I'm coming at an incumbent. I got to beat him. You got to beat the champ. And I'm going to beat him tonight. And I don't care what this guy moderator, whatever he thinks he is, because I'm going to ignore him. What was Romney doing? He was winning.
He was winning tonight.
Poor guy.
That's so great.
Guy.
He's going to,
so great.
I mean, it's so bad that at the end, he's going to be shuffling off to the nursing home with this. Be like, we could have won. I was a contender.
That was no MSNBC debate.
We would have had it in the bag. We would have turned his microphone off. So we would have done. Mm-hmm. We would have just lip-synced him saying, I'm voting for Obama. We could have gotten a guy in a truck to do that. Who was it that said, if this keeps up, Obama's going to vote for Romney?
That was it, Dennis Miller,
That
maybe?
was Dennis Miller. Dennis Miller was actually very funny last night in his tweets. These are Bill Maher tweets. Looks like my pre-thought about Romney knocking it out of the park was accurate, or so says the media that is so in the tank for Obama. Obama made a lot of great points tonight. Unfortunately, most of them were for Romney. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Obama looks like he does need a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't just making that one up.
Hey, again, Mr. President, it's October. Surprise.